And don't even get me started with ESPN. I'm leaving that subject to you. Because I think there are a lot more to do with this than anybody will ever know. I'm convinced of it.
1,000,000%. I mean, Bob Bowlesby's completely convinced of it. And I know, I was just reading Barry Trammell today. He was talking about the tortious interference part, and he had a Big 12 legal source. He was quoting a Big 12 legal source that felt like they had a very good case, but that at the same time, tortious interference is very difficult to prove. So
sure.
We'll see what happens with that. But obviously, publicly, I think everything's going to remain quiet because so much of that, legal-wise, the legalities of that are going to force that to be.
And if it stays quiet, I believe that Mr. Bowlesby has something.
Well, I would agree, too.
Why would you not?
I would agree, too. And, but even without that, you can piece together some of the – and Mitch, we're just going to have to roll this into one segment. I'm sorry. You can go back and trace the timelines back on this where it's like, okay, Max Olson has reported that a lot of people in the league believe that the Texas-Oklahoma flirtation with the SEC goes back even further than 6 months, that could have been up to a year beyond that. Well, within that time frame, the Big 12 started a committee to look toward renegotiating the TV deal that included the Texas University president on it. So he's clearly aware of what's going on behind closed doors and then is in on these meetings with a committee, and they paid for consultants to try and help them with the TV deal. The whole time ESPN already obviously knows that Texas and Oklahoma are going to be headed to the SEC. And so then you go to the negotiating table and ESPN says, well, no, we're not going to renegotiate this deal. Of course, because they already have knowledge of what's going on with Texas and Oklahoma. So they say no, and then Oklahoma turns around, and at their press conference, the university president there is saying, well, what can we do? I mean, ESPN said they wouldn't renegotiate our deal, so we had to do what's best for our future. And it's like, okay, I mean, I'm no lawyer.
Kind of fits, doesn't it?
Yeah, like I'm no lawyer. I don't know what the specific legalities are of everything that's going there. And then the AAC stuff, it seems like there's something fishy going on there already with everything I just said. And then the AAC, Heather Dinich, who's an ESPN reporter, like within 24 hours of Bob Bowlesby coming out with the tortious interference thing, 24 hours beforehand, she tweets out, again, an ESPN reporter, hey, the AAC, look for the AAC to be really aggressive in trying to raid the Big 12 and go after Big 12 schools. And it's like, okay, I mean, that seems fishy, especially now that the accusation is that they're trying to break up the Big 12. Like, yeah, man, ESPN has done some shady
Well, they had $130 million on the line with the Longhorn Network, dude.
Well,
it's obvious they're in it.
And not just that, they're on the hook for $1 billion with the Big 12 if they can blow the Big 12 up.
Exactly.
So, kick some extra dollars to the AAC that's pennies on the dollar compared to what the Big 12 TV contract is. I mean, it was all pretty easy to just lay bare. And then at the same time, all this is happening, and then John Skipper, who's the former head of ESPN, who's now running Meadowlark Media, which has the Dan Lebitard show, he goes on the Dan Lebitard show, and they asked him, this is in reference to 10 years ago, obviously, but are you responsible for conference realignment? And he says, well, I plead the fifth. So I mean, like, there's not even that much hiding it at this point, like how responsible they are for all of it. It's just whether or not that's going to be enough for tortious interference to come into play and how much money that can net the Big 12 in the end.
Yeah, I don't think we need to explain taking the fifth to anybody. I mean, yeah. Right? Wow. I don't know what else to say. I really, truly don't.
Well, it's
not that hard to figure out.
No, it's not. I think the key elements here will be like what is the smoking gun? Like what does Bowlesby actually have? How tangible is the proof and the evidence there? And then again, like what does that do for you in the end? Because I think it's money. It's not going to reverse anything that's happened. It's not going to save the league on its own, but it can get you a bunch of money and I guess just help you feel justified and right. I don't know. The unfortunate part is I don't know that it does that much to really – I don't know if the rest of the sports world or the college football world will really be surprised or empathetic or sympathetic because much of the reaction I've seen is just kind of like if you're not in Big 12 country, you're not one of the schools affected, it's just kind of like a shrug of the shoulders like, yeah, ESPN's controlled everything for a while. And it's like, well, that's what makes it so maddening for those of us that are, being affected here. Well, yeah. All these stadiums that fill up with 50,000 every Saturday, people that really care about college football, places that have elite facilities. Meanwhile, we watch...
That should count for something.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we watch UCLA, and, we get these national media members caping up and defending the Pac-12, and we watch UCLA this weekend fart out about 4,000 people at the Rose Bowl for their first home game in over 600 days. The first time to see their team in over 600 days. A team that got a first place vote in the Pac-12 South that's supposed to be improving. A team that has a high-profile head coach in Chip Kelly. They can't get more than like 4,000 people there, and yet it's like, well, no, of course the Pac-12 is better than the Big 12, 8, whatever, and will continue to be for the foreseeable future, and ESPN just gets rich off of all of it. I hate it all. I hate it all.